Hey everyone, Rob Van Dyson again. Today is the 17th of May 2020, a Sunday. I am back again here at Hobble Creek, and this has actually been a really good weekend for me. Spent most of it trying to recover, trying to make sure that I'm ready for the week ahead of me, and just taking some time so that I can not only physically but mentally and spiritually be ready for the things that are coming up ahead. I'm out here by Hobble Creek again. You can see the log I'm usually sitting on behind me, and I actually just have a small little fire. There are fire pits all over this place, and I decided to avail myself of one this time. It's really nice. I just have always enjoyed a campfire. So, last couple of weeks have been a little tough for me. Just work has demanded a lot. Nothing I can't handle, but it's been draining. We're actually starting to get back up to full strength and back up to full production, which my shop is the middle shop. So we need to be able to absorb everything that the weld shop takes in, and then keep side metal supplied enough that they can, that they have work to do, and that we can actually produce enough product so that we can sell it. So, anyway, I'm just taking a little bit of time for myself out here and enjoying nature, which is probably the most fulfilling thing I can do for myself personally. And I encourage anyone who's listening to this to find out what does that for them and make sure they indulge it. Last week I recorded a video. It never actually got put up because it needed some editing, and neither myself nor my wife could get around to doing it. I might be able to get that put up here. I have some resources that are going to become available here in the next week that hopefully will make that a little bit easier. But overall, even if it didn't get posted, I enjoy coming up here and doing these recordings, so I'll continue to do that. I just need to make sure that I take care of my mental health enough to be able to continue working towards my goals. And sometimes, as everyone knows, that's easier than at other times. But one of the things that's occurred to me this week, two things. Both of them are semi-related to the experience. When I was serving in the Marine Corps as an aircraft mechanic, my particular shop was kind of divided into two roles. I was a power line mechanic, and that was the combination of power plants, which is the actual maintenance and care for the power plant, the engine of the Harriers. And flight line, which is responsible for the inspections and launching, recovering, fueling, all of that stuff for the birds. Now, I was a mediocre mechanic at best, there were definitely other Marines who were far better and preferred to be doing that particular matter. I actually excelled more at the flight line part of it. And I had a good sergeant, Sergeant Sanchez. And there is a leadership principle, which I believe I've mentioned in the past, stating to know your Marines and deploy them to their best ability. And he took that to heart. And so I actually, while I would do maintenance and repairs, and especially all hand stuff, like when we needed to pull an engine or anything like that, where he would deploy me in the hangar bay, doing that type of maintenance. And I was proficient enough that I was, at least I believe, I was a help rather than a hindrance to those actions. But for the most part, I was out on the flight line, allowing those Marines that excelled and preferred to be in the hangar bay doing the maintenance to do that without having to stop and go launch birds as much as possible and do the inspections, the daily inspections and the turnaround inspections that are required before a bird can fly. And I took good counsel from that. And, I try and look at people and say, okay, what do they prefer? What are they best at? And employ them like that. Now, right now, I'm not necessarily in a leadership role for the most part. I'm a worker bee, and I tend to enjoy that. I'm not one of those people who particularly enjoy leadership. But the other thing was with Sergeant Sanchez again. And it came up when my wife and I were driving up somewhere, and we were discussing things, and my somewhat cavalier attitude of, what certain people think of me. And I pointed out to her that I have to respect you in that particular field well enough to actually care what you think of me. With Sergeant Sanchez, I cared very much what he thought of me as a Marine, as a mechanic, in my roles. But there are other roles, like how I led my personal life, where he and I definitely had different values, and I didn't care nearly as much as what he thought about me in those roles, and about things of religion and other things. And I think that especially in this day and age, where everyone can say what they believe, what they think, and on comments, I'll eventually get to the point where I'm getting less than positive comments on my videos. So far, all the comments I've had have been positive. Which I'm grateful for. But eventually, I'll start getting the naysayers, the trolls, the people who genuinely disagree with me on certain things. And that's fine. But that I can't let all of that vastly affect me. I need to be able to maintain the fact that, unless, I, have a reason to respect you in this particular field, that it really just doesn't matter. There's a saying out there, is just because a dog barks doesn't mean he has something important to say. And also, there are people out there who I vastly respect in their particular field and will gladly take counsel from them in those fields. But that doesn't mean I need to take counsel of them in all fields. I can look at someone and say, I respect what you say, and I will take heed in this aspect of my life, but not another. Jack Spirko, which anyone who listens to me for any amount of time knows that I have a lot of respect for, told a story of a relative of his who was very successful in business, but by the time he was a young man, I don't remember how old he was, but I think he was maybe in his teens when his father told him this. And said, if this relative tells you anything about business, listen to him. If he tries to tell you anything about your romantic life, probably not the best person to get advice from. And so I guess that's my counsel for you this time around, is find good mentors, whether you know them personally or not. I've never met Jack Spirko. I've had very little interaction with him other than listening to his podcasts. And then I've also had other mentors who have mentored me personally. To find those, figure out where they're best at, where their counsel fits, and also evaluate where their counsel doesn't fit. And who you should take advice to, and on what. The "and on what" is what's often overlooked, I think. Is very important. So, anyways, I'm going to keep this short. I don't have a whole lot to say today, and I'd rather get this out where I have to stitch two videos together. But anyway, I'm wishing you all the best. I am hoping the best for you, and encourage you guys to keep on working towards your dreams as I'm working towards mine. All right, Thin Dice out.